got a welcome sight, which is young Maribye sitting on his mound, just, well, taking it easy. We were driving along Maribye and kind of coming into the area where he was last seen and spotted him on the mound, kind of in the block. So he's taking it easy at the moment. He's watching a waterbuck every now and then, which is, I don't think that's enthralling to him, far too little, as Morgan says, to really interest him. He's after always the bigger stuff like 500 buffalo or a herd of 30 elephants. Those are the things that entertain this cat. But he's every now and then will put his head over his shoulder and watch this waterbuck that's walking around in the background. But he looks very stoic up there, doesn't he? He's like he's perched on his little crown. On his little throne. He does look a little on the tired side though this morning. It's like he has not had a cup of coffee. His eyes are like drooping and starting to close. It's almost as though he's had a tough evening. Looking very, very sleepy, which is not normally his look. His look is normally quite alert and quite sort of all over the place. But I suppose when you've had a long evening, it's okay to look a little bit like you need a good rest. I don't think he's going to be able to stay up on his mound for too long. While there is a nice cool breeze, it is starting to get warm quite quickly. And as you can see, he's kind of in full sun right now. So it's going to eventually hit him enough that he's going to have to come down and find himself some shade. I'm interested to see which way he goes from here, if he's going to go back down towards Sept28 Dam, or if he's going to cross back into Torchwood. He's kind of halfway between the dam and the fire break at the moment. And Maribye. So wouldn't surprise me if he gets up from here and heads back into Torchwood. Although it would be nicer for us if he stays this side, because signal for us is much better on Chitwa these days. So hopefully he'll stay here, and hopefully his mum will arrive at some point. Be nice to see her. It's been a while since I've seen her. Nearly, yeah, I think so. I think his coat coloration will remain exactly the same. Light color like that. Don't think you're going to see it changing too much going through his life. You say it's a stunning coat color. He does have a pretty coat color, but I must be honest, I prefer his mom's coat. That more kind of orange gold as opposed to this yellow gold that he's got. It's not to say that he's not a pretty boy. It's just I like that rich color that Thandi has. Kalamba also has it as well. She's got a very orangey appearance to her, which is quite nice. But you can see, just typical of him, everywhere he's just looking all over the place, anything and everything that's going to interest him. And it is getting big. He should be. He's marching on in age now. So if you compare him to the likes of Shasha or to Tsemba, he's still got a lot of growing to do, or even as a male leopard. But he is definitely putting on size by the day, and the fact that he's starting to kill his own things and do that kind of stuff will only stand him in good stead. I think eventually you can't push your tail against the mound. You see he's not standing on his own tail. Maribye, you are a funny cat. But yeah, he's still got a lot of growing to do before he even can remotely compete with any of the other cats. As a dominant leopard, he's put on size, but he still has much more to go. I actually don't think he's going to be a massive leopard. Pretty sure he's going to end up being very similar to Tamba. Oh, Tamba is big though. Tamba's grown a lot, but he's going to be a shorter, stockier leopard rather than a tall kind of leopard like Tingana or Anderson. What are you going to go and stalk now? So we can watch the waterbuck that's coming closer. Let me just go forward slightly, Morgan, so we can just quickly see what it is that he is busy watching. That's still the waterbuck that he's on. no chance with the waterbuck. Although saying that, I mean, in this actually very spot, just from this Termite Mound, if you walk 100 meters to the west, I found Tingana once on a fully grown female waterbuck. So things are possible, but to be honest, that was a much bigger Tingana than what Maribye is at the moment. Morgan, should we move a little bit? Because we can't really see his face anyway. So we're going to work like this. Let's try and see if we can just reposition slightly. Here's the waterbuck here in front. Just watching, feeding and doing their thing. Of course, there's now in the perfect spot. We've got 100 million sticks in the way. So we'll have to come around a little bit. Hold on, Morgan, I'm going to just position slightly different piece. I have my hat in the way, because otherwise you'll moan at me and then it will, you know, be awkward, and no one wants that. Is that better for you? You're so quiet now. What's wrong? You're fine with anything. You never complain. Any that were true. Look at those little paws crossed over. Hello, boy. A cute cat, this one. We've been so fortunate to get to spend as much time as we have with him. He's a pretty special individual. Little Maribye. I suppose any leopard is, let's be honest. They're all pretty epic cats. Are you going to try and hunt the waterbuck? Is that what's going to happen this morning? If he does, I'll be super impressed with him, but I mean the chances are very slim. I think if it was impalas, you'd see a lot more in the way of him kind of wanting to get closer, so a lot more interest. For now, I think he's just interested because, well, you know, he has a moving animal close by, and so that's always something that intrigues a leopard. I don't think he's particularly thinking of hunting them. He's just watching them because it's moving and it's a potential source of meat. Alrighty, we'll sit with him and see whether or not he closes the distance to the waterbuck, or if the waterbuck come up this way. Meantime, though, there's some exciting things coming to Wild Earth, and one of those is the penguins. Well, we're still with Maribye. He's just watching the world go by as he does. He's obviously a cat that likes to just see what's happening. His mom is actually also here. She's not visible from where we are right now. His mom is a little bit further down the slope on another mound of her own. So we'll go and pop in and have a look at her. It's been a while since we've actually had any decent sightings of her. It was quite funny because I was sitting with him and then I was like, there's another car there. And then I heard the guys on the radio talking about Thandi, and obviously this is Maribye. So Thandi is a little bit further down and onto the other side of where we are right now. I wonder if they'll join up. I mean, they must know about each other. It's just interesting that they're lying so far apart. It's generally not the case with a mother and cub. They normally don't lie so far away from one another. Let's see how he drops his head when cars come. He always does it. It's like his little trait is to kind of drop his head and just pretend like he's hiding a little bit before he then pops back up again and realizes that everyone's still going to watch him regardless of what he does. Slowly but surely his head will start to come up a little bit more, and he's now looking in the direction of where his mom is. So she is that area there. So Nicanova, I mean, we haven't. So he's been on carcasses where we're unsure whether it's him or his mom that has taken them down. So, for example, the other day he was at First Rock and he had a big impala carcass there. There was no sign of Tangi, but it was a big male impala, so it could have been him. It might not have, which would be his biggest that we know of. What we've physically seen him take is we've seen him take things like probably the monitor lizard, actually. Hey, Morgan? It's probably the biggest thing we've actually witnessed him bring down. You know, we talk about these kind of things and, you know, we say that maybe he's brought those down, but actually watched him do was probably the monitor. And then we've also seen him kill scrub hares, we've seen him kill guinea fowl. So those things have all been parts and parcel of his hunting prowess of the past couple months. But yeah, if that impala was him, then that will be the biggest thing that he's seen, or that he's actually been able to bring down. Beautiful cat though, isn't he? James, I know, I think you and many others, she's been a bit absent of late, so we're going to try and kind of get a view of her now. It's a bit complicated because the guys were started forming a lineup for Tandi when we spotted him from another road. So even though they're close together, no one actually knew he was on this mound, and so when we found him, we didn't even realize that they were here. So it's going to be a bit complicated with cars and stuff, but we'll figure it out when I go off air just now, and then we'll try and kind of head towards Tandi and spend some time with her. I think